Good morning. We can officially say happy midweek. It's a Wednesday, 21st of January 2026. It feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday as it's 1 week later. Last week today. Uganda was experiencing day one of the internet shutdown, and there was a lot of uncertainty regarding mobile money transactions, internet operations, especially in regards to work. And there was a lot of confusion. But 1 week later, the internet has so far been partially opened. Now, speaking of which, regarding elections, Uganda Revenue Authority has blamed the 2026 election disruptions for the dismal revenue collections, saying it managed to collect only 16.476 trillion between July and December 2025 against the projected target of 17.5 trillion. This disclosure was made by Dennis Kogonza Kateba, Commissioner Domestic Taxes at URA, while presenting at the entity's 2026-27 National Budget Framework paper before Parliament's Finance Committee. But also the Kampala Capital City Authority is seeking 6.18 billion to fund the salary increment for street cleaners from the current 6K daily to 10,000 Uganda shillings daily for each cleaner in a bid to improve sanitation around the city. It's a good morning from this side. I hope it is a good morning on your side. And in case it's not, well, we're encouraging you that, hey, you have life. There is hope. And your best days are always, always, always ahead of you. You're watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantala. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono and Joan Murunji. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Julie, and a very good morning to you, our viewers. We hope you had a fantastic night. It is Wednesday, and we are halfway to the weekend. For some of you, Wednesday feels like Monday. It's like you're just beginning the week. But get up, be inspired, especially by us at UBC, and chase those dreams. Here at Nile Avenue, it is a calm morning, and the sun is almost coming out so bright. But we expect you to get to work and, you know, make sure you predict the future by creating it. Of course, today we are still having elections in Uganda for the local government level. And today we are electing the special interest groups councillors at district level and city level. That is for the youths, older persons, workers, and people with disabilities. But on the other hand, President Museveni has accorded an official burial ceremony to the former Minister of Education and Sports, that is the late Geraldine Namirembe Bitamazire, recognizing her long and distinguished service to the country. Now, with the Constitution of Uganda, that is Article 99 of the Republic of Uganda is amended, this vests executive authority of Uganda in the President. And it is from here that the Minister for Presidency, Ms. Emily Babalanda Babirie, yesterday said the deceased educationist would be laid to rest today on Wednesday at her ancestral home in Chibonga Parish, Masakwa Village in Butambala district. Now, for those of you who do not understand an official burial from the state, it just simply means that the government is going to meet all the funeral and burial expenses. And to remind you a little, Namirembe Bitamazire died on January 14th, 2026 at the International Hospital in Kampala at about 9 p.m. May her soul rest in eternal peace.
All right. Thank you very much, Joan. Robert, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Julie. How are you?
It's like you want to sing it, but I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very fine. And also Joan here, she was teasing me about the color of her skirt. And I told her it's confused red.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Confused red.
Exactly.
Anyways, what have you been looking at?
Well, so much, but I want to first begin by commending the Interreligious Council. Remember when I hosted the Archbishop here, I told him that we do not see you in moments where you should come out and speak as religious leaders. And he told me, no, we do speak, just that our method is not coming out in the media and this. Now, yesterday, the Interreligious Council held a press conference and tried to digest the concluded elections that were held on the 15th for presidential and parliamentary. And they made note of a number of things, including the biometric machines failing. They talked about heavy deployment. They talked about discrepancies in results, and also moved to the home of Robert Kyagulanyi Sentamu, where they met the wife. And they had a discussion, and she also told them a few things, how her husband escaped, how there was heavy deployment, and how some had moved on. She had footage and all that. So when we see religious leaders also showing concern in some of the things that are happening, I want to condemn them than rather looking and just watching.
Indeed.
So that was a move. But also yesterday I was confused.
By what?
And dismayed. And also worried at the same time. And also felt pity for somebody. I saw Matthias Walukaga.
Yeah.
From Busiro East. Remember, he was deregistered or denominated by the Electoral Commission. He supported Magola, who went through that election. And many of us gave him credit that, you know, it's good spirit. If you've been denominated, now there's someone else, it's a sign of political maturity. You know, it's love for the party. There's so much praises that came in. But yesterday he comes out and says, we made a deal with Magola. I support him, but he's going to pay me.
Oh, wow.
And he's demanding for the money.
And he's demanding. I told him, if you don't go through, Sibanja. If you go through. And when he made simple calculations, he said, for example, petitions, when I'm part of their rallies, I get 4 a.m. Now this one, I've used my cars, I've used, you know, it seems a serious
Well, what
money
car was
there.
he supposed to use apart from his?
Campaigning, I used my structures. Though he didn't mention the amount of money.
Robert.
But I came to ask, why don't some of these people employ professionals like us? If you are a public figure, you're going to make a statement. Ask people who are good in the media.
PR.
They will tell you that, you know what, Awoyocha.
And you know, Robert,
Awoyocha, like they're saying.
I completely disagree with Mr. Walukaga.
It was total barrier to his political career.
One,
Indeed.
it shows us what he
Indeed.
was expecting out of Parliament. Financial gains. Secondly, Magola has been in the campaign environment before. Once he was in FDC, then he came as, he went to NOP where they denied him, he was not given a card. I think Walukaga is just trying to make a mountain out of a hill. Already
Anyways.
he knew what he was doing. Magola knew the structures for campaigning.
Interesting. Well,
digging a grave for his political career.
let's move on swiftly to the local scene. But as the word, the book that I always read and I love so much says, that is the Bible. It says, you shall see them by their fruit. On that note, let's have a look at what we have on the local scene.
Well, we begin with a delegation of UK investors, which is expected to jet into the country on the 16th of February next month. The delegation will be led by Andrew Rossonell, who is the parliamentary chairman of Westminster Africa Business Association and a member of the Reform Party in the United Kingdom Parliament. Ambassador Madivani informed the Prime Minister that this demonstrates international confidence in Uganda as a safe and attractive destination for investment and tourism, especially at the time when Uganda has just concluded the general elections. During their stay in Uganda, the delegation is also expected to meet His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and other high-profile government officials, including the Prime Minister. This development comes after the Prime Minister, Robert Nabanja, visited the United Kingdom in October last year. The Interreligious Council of Uganda has cited professional inconsistencies in the January 15th 2026 presidential and parliamentary elections and challenged the Electoral Commission to improve the processing and management of results to reduce discrepancies. Addressing the media, the Archbishop Kazimba Mugalu called upon the Electoral Commission to address the nation on the gaps and inconsistencies witnessed in the election, saying these weaken public trust in the electoral process. The council also visited Kyagulanyi Sentamu Robert's home in Magere following the 15th January 2026 elections outcome. The Interreligious Council of Uganda urged the Electoral Commission to strengthen and safeguard the results management and tallying. Archbishop Kazimba Mugalu emphasized the need for transparent reconciliation mechanisms that are visible to all party agents and observers in real time, noting that discrepancies between polling station declarations and agitated results undermined the legitimacy of the outcomes. Government-imposed internet shutdown significantly. They also noted about this that this also in one way affected the transparency of the elections. Babi Kyagulanyi, the wife to Robert Kyagulanyi, confirmed that Kyagulanyi left his home on the 16th of January 2026 after security personnel infiltrated their residence. In the final presidential results, the NRM candidate, General Kaguta Museveni, pulled over 7 million votes, representing 71.65%. The closest challenger, Sentamu Kyagulanyi Robert of the National Unity Platform, came second with over 2 million votes, or a percentage of 24.72%. After the announcement of the results, Robert Kasibante, who was placed 6th in the presidential race, filed a petition challenging President Yoweri Museveni's victory. He claims irregularities in the electoral process, the involvement of security operatives, use of government resources, bribery, and vote rigging. The judiciary said it has put in place special measures to handle election petition. Robert Kasibante filed a petition against the Electoral Commission, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and the Attorney General. The NRM legal team said it will defend all petitions arising from the elections. Legal experts have also outlined the laws governing election petitions. Following the retirement of former Chief Justice Alfonso Owiny-Doro, questions have risen about how the Supreme Court will handle a presidential election petition. With strict constitutional timelines and backlog of cases in court, how will the election petitions be disposed of in time? Finally, the leader of the Democratic Front Party, Mathias Mpuuga, has blamed the Electoral Commission for mismanaging last week's presidential and parliamentary elections. Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission spokesperson Julius Muchunguzi has dismissed the claims as allegations without substance. Democratic Front leader Mathias Mpuuga has decried electoral fraud against some of his party candidates whom he claimed had won but were denied victory. He attributed the loss to the declaration of wrong results by some returning officers. But the Electoral Commission spokesperson Julius Muchunguzi said those are allegations and advised them to go to court. On the issue of failure of the biometric voter verification kits, Muchunguzi said the Electoral Commission is evaluating the entire electoral process and will issue a report. Amidst voices disrupting the 2026 presidential and parliamentary election results by different political actors, the Electoral Commission maintains that it is a responsibility of all stakeholders to contribute to free and fair and credible elections. Now, this brings us to the end of our local stories. Robert Kasibante going to court. He was placed in 6th position.
Right. One would wonder what his intention is, but definitely we look forward and judge not until we see the outcome.
My worry is if you go to court and defeated, if you are at that level, if damages and all that are awarded.
Exactly. John, what do we have on the foreign scene?
Who lose petitions and they take off running, and then sometimes they are arrested, then there is sympathy, then they go broke to the nerve.
And of course, from the global news, we are beginning off with Venezuelans who have been deported by the United States. And these landed at Maiquetía International Airport in La Guaira on Monday. Footage shows an Eastern Airlines plane arriving from the United States with passengers exiting the aircraft as security forces guard the runway. The flight carried 235 Venezuelans, including 219 men and 16 women, according to media reports. The planned vote a la Patria, translated in English as Return to Homeland, is a program initiated by President Nicolas Maduro, who is currently being held in the United States. Despite tense relations between the United States and Venezuela, the countries reached an agreement in late 2025 to resume deportation flights of Venezuelans living in the North American country after a brief interruption. Forging forward, French President Emmanuel Macron described the row with Donald Trump over Greenland as crazy, accusing the U.S. leader of unpredictability and useless aggressivity, as he spoke in a question and answer at the World Economic Forum in Davos on Tuesday. Leaders, including Macron and Germany's Friedrich Merz, have called for Europe not to be distracted from Ukraine by the Greenland row, while Donald Trump himself has told Europe to focus on it instead as well. The row over Greenland with Donald Trump has seen the president threaten tariffs on those countries deploying troops to the territory in recent days. Now, according to reports, the bloc is said to consider the so-called trade bazooka, $93 billion in tariffs, as a response. Trump has insisted he needs Greenland, an autonomous Danish territory, for security reasons. And the ongoing row has also raised issues about Denmark's own difficult relationship and past treatment of its former colony. Earlier, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warned that Europe should not react to the new tariffs, saying he would advise everyone to sit back and take a deep breath. Asked if he believed there were any retaliatory measures against the U.S. that Americans should be worried about, he replied, no. And moving forward, of course, back to the mother of nature, that is the African continent, in a jubilation mood as Senegalese football fans welcomed their national heroes home in Dakar on Monday, celebrating the Teranga Lions AFCON final victory over Morocco the previous day. As you can see on your screens, supporters gathered outside Blaise Diagne International Airport, waving flags and playing music as the squad arrived. As night fell, crowds lined the road into the city, cheering as the team bus passed under police supervision. We are just feeling happy. We set out on a mission to bring home a second star, and we did it, shared one fan. When I see this crowd, it's wonderful because we are together. It's so beautiful, and I don't even have the words to describe it, he continued. Senegal clinched their second AFCON trophy on Sunday after a thrilling clash against Morocco at Rabat's Prince Moulay Abdellah Stadium. The match reached a dramatic climax when the hosts were awarded a stoppage time penalty, sparking furious protests from Senegal's players and a 15-minute walk-off Morocco's Brahim Diaz. Then he saw his spot kick saved by Eduardo Mendy before Pape Gueye struck in the first period of extra time to seal the title for the Teranga Lions. The win gives Senegal a second Africa Cup of Nations title following their 2021 triumph, while Morocco remains without a continental title since 1976, despite reaching the final on home soil. Those were really excitement. Those were really excited scenes. And of course, I imagine if it was Uganda, I think the celebrations would last even 3 days. And
picture Uganda on that particular celebration. But oh well, we still have hope for the future. Now,
you know how to celebrate by disorganizing the police.
We know how to celebrate.
Let's quickly look at what we have in the dailies this morning. And we're starting off with the New Vision. Hot sports for LC5 elections, 22nd of January, which is tomorrow, is when we're voting for LC5 chairpersons and mayors. Hot spots there. Battle for Kampala Lord Mayor seat gains momentum. In street language, one would say chani cha cha, chani cha Lord Mayor. Anyways, a picture there of the members from the religious leaders, rather, from the Interreligious Council that visited Chagulanyi's home. Also matters Parliament, artists who won seats in the House. Speaking of Swengere, the comedian who now is the MP-elect of Ginger North, and elections, why NRM, yes, of Zungululu. Elections, why NRM won by a landslide in northern Uganda. Polls, low turnout as special interest groups elect leaders, and tribute hundreds eulogize Mama UPE Bitamazire. Looking at what we have in the rest of East Africa, going to the citizen in Tanzania, how Mwalimu Mtei split at height of economic crisis. Also, Zanzibar pledges tax incentives, faster approvals to attract investors, and households to feel the pinch as food inflation hits 7%. Also, experts voice concern about lack of safe houses for abused young girls. In the Daily Nation, that is in Kenya, 68 billion shillings cash crisis cripples counties. And also, Turkana has lowest turnout. Mandera tops in grade 10 admissions. Also in there is Ahmed Nasir backs down in fight with Supreme Court judges. Some of those stories and all that you are interested in, get yourself a copy of either of the papers and get to read more about them. It's Good Morning Uganda, a show that starts your day here on UBC TV and is proudly brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, making sure that on set here we are energized by Uganda coffee. Indeed. And an opportunity an opportunity for you to also go to that supermarket and grab yourself a bag of Uganda coffee. When we get back, it's The Real. Save the number 0709 602 592. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. We can officially say happy midweek. It's a Wednesday, 21st of January 2026. It feels like yesterday. It feels like yesterday as it's 1 week later. Last week today. Uganda was experiencing day one of the internet shutdown, and there was a lot of uncertainty regarding mobile money transactions, internet operations, especially in regards to work, and there was a lot of confusion. But 1 week later, the internet has so far been partially opened. Now, speaking of which, regarding elections, Uganda Revenue Authority has blamed the 2026 election disruptions for the dismal revenue collections, saying it managed to collect only 16.476 trillion between July and December 2025 against the projected target of 17.5 trillion. This disclosure was made by Dennis Kugonza Kateba, Commissioner Domestic Taxes at URA, while presenting at the entity's 2026-27 National Budget Framework paper before Parliament's Finance Committee. But also the Kampala Capital City Authority is seeking 6.18 billion to fund the salary increment for street cleaners from the current 6K daily to 10,000 Uganda shillings daily for each cleaner, in a bid to improve sanitation around the city. It's a good morning from this side. I hope it is a good morning on your side. And in case it's not, well, we're encouraging you that, hey, you have life. There is hope. And your best days are always, always, always ahead of you. You're watching UBC TV. My name is Julie F. Nantala. I am with Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono and Joan Murunji. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Julie, and a very good morning to you, our viewers. We hope you had a fantastic night. It is Wednesday, and we are halfway to the weekend. For some of you, Wednesday feels like Monday. It's like you're just beginning the week. But get up, be inspired, especially by us at UBC, and chase those dreams. Here at Nile Avenue, it is a calm morning, and the sun is almost coming out so bright. But we expect you to get to work and, you know, make sure you predict the future by creating it. Of course, today we are still having elections in Uganda for the local government level, and today we are electing the special interest groups councillors at district level and city level. That is for the youths, older persons, workers, and people with disabilities. But on the other hand, President Museveni has accorded an official burial ceremony to the former Minister of Education and Sports, that is the late Geraldine Namirembe Bitamazire, recognizing her long and distinguished service to the country. Now, with the Constitution of Uganda, that is Article 99 of the Republic of Uganda is amended, this vests executive authority of Uganda in the President. And it is from here that the Minister for Presidency, Ms. Emily Babalanda Babirie, yesterday said the deceased educationist would be laid to rest today on Wednesday at her ancestral home in Chibonga Parish, Masakwa Village in Butambala district. Now, for those of you who do not understand an official burial from the state, it just simply means that the government is going to meet all the funeral and burial expenses. Now, to remind you a little, Namirembe Bitamazire died on January 14th, 2026 at the International Hospital in Kampala at about 9 p.m.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General, to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Booza Commissioner.
The Senior Citizens Grant under the Social Assistance Grants for Empowerment SAGE program is Uganda's social protection flagship program, providing regular, predictable, and reliable direct income support to older persons. Since inception in 2010, the SAGE program has positively impacted beneficiaries' livelihoods, contributing to the overall national socio-economic transformation. The government of Uganda has continued to fulfill its commitment to the expansion and sustainability of the SAGE program, ensuring income security, dignity, and improved basic standard of living for older persons in all local governments across the country.
Amaina gange ninze Joyce naishiga ati anu mfugiwa gombola kiyanyi dukisisi na mutumba n'abaana bange oyo yabatukoze kubabaze batuwandikisya ate bakati tuzo kuwa buyambi tabatu ya katonda gabakiralu omukago aisoyo omuseveni natuyirike sabakaire neyanze okusoka neyanzirye omuseveni akasoka kasoka okutuwa yatwere mutwalo 15 ninjake 5 10 ningula kabuli tena ila natwe mutwalo 10 akona bana nabizizu nokulya kwako ningula kintu natwire ka 2 akoningula motete mbuli tete natwe 15 tete ningula makabuli nkato omusajja natwere buyame nokutu kufirukira bizibu tuli nabyo tuli n'abaana basomi nzo tumulandi n'abaana basoma eyizindi bakobera abaana tumwamushoma asomera bugazi nenga nakabula kanda kasokolo kubyalwa natundire ninyirukire mwana kale nze nkola atundyaku ninkolera kundyaku ndeka akabuli kasooka insuna esente gya Museveni mbula kizibu kyensunangamu nsuna mu bintu ebyo nakasigala ninkolaki nindya aye tulika bantu bangi aye abaana n'okusoma kaliwo esente gibanzibu ate notako mwana asome kale nkolere ntya nintundamu ombuli oyo nimpoera omwana okwakusoma wayula ebintu ebyo nebitagulika otako mwana ataka okusoma ate sente obula ate anonze nebale gavumenti okutuyirikira ise nga nze lumoiza ntumula ku lwange tiima kyabandi nga basiima nze nebali Museveni okutuyamba atayamba abantu bonabona ayambe n'abaana basomi.
This is a message from Expanding Social Protection, ESP, implementing the program under the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. ESP, better life chances for all.
Amina gange tubona kiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi nga abakyala ab'ewakawaka. Abakyala ab'ewakawaka tuwemera ku baami baife nga bonkana abajamu nanda nga twidi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege nga abakyala. Twatandika beno okudulunda n'okudirisa n'okola ki twafunamu nga abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eno eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo, twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting aba harvestinga, twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunyeemu nga abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza okujja kwekujanga batulingirira mu nga abakyala abana Uganda eri kujanga eturobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWEB, baleta parish development model, we have myoga, byona biri kwida muki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Ginshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Ginshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV this morning. And let's have a conversation that indeed is affecting all of us. The other time I asked someone what the app they missed the most while the internet was shut down, and they told me that for them it was mobile money and banking apps. Those are the apps they missed. I actually asked social media app and they said mobile money. Those are the apps they missed. But a good morning. Thank you so much first and foremost for watching UBC TV and joining us. My name is Julie F. Nantaba and this is Good Morning Uganda. We started already and the show is still going on. Right now, let's indeed have a conversation on matters the internet. It was restored partially on the 17th of January, which was probably Saturday night, around 11 p.m. maybe. I got to notice that it was restored the following day, but it was partially restored on the 17th of January after nearly 5 days without public internet access connectivity, and which was taken off last week on Tuesday. That was the 13th, very abruptly, as well expected, but timing was very abrupt. Many Ugandans were affected, from businesses to education. I'm not so sure about the health system, but in one way or the other, I believe it too was affected. Work, everything got on a standstill. And in it was the negative and the positive. So let's look at the impact of the shutdown and partial restoration of the internet here in Uganda. 0709-602-592. I understand there are a couple of young Ugandans who have also gone to court to sue UCC and partners for bringing this burden to Ugandans. Join in on the conversation. 0709-602-592. Once again, good morning, and I am with Robert Chirabonyonyintono and Joan Moronje. And I'll start with Robert. When we look at the impact, it's both negative and positive. For many Ugandans, obviously, on the streets, if you get to the street language, the street lingo, many Ugandans are not happy. And it's hard to see through the lens, to see whatever vantage or form of light of any positive out of shutting down the internet in Uganda. But do share a perspective of what positive outcomes we've had from this.
Well, first I want to thank government for taking this step. I'll begin with the Executive Director of UCC, Honorable Nyombi Tembo, when he came out and some people say assured, but the truth is they didn't listen carefully to what he said. Because he said, I'll not switch off the internet unless the three stakeholders ask me to. He said the telecommunication companies, you Ugandans, or security. But he said, other than that, he assured you that internet would be on. However, there was a however. And he mentioned the three stakeholders. Now, the statement that came in from Uganda Communications Commission, never alone the ship knocking a cable, but authentic information that came in, was that the Intersecurity Agency had advised UCC to switch off the internet, basing on security grounds. So, Honorable Nyombi Tembo did not lie, did not give false hope. He gave reasons of however, and one of them indeed was the reasons he gave. Now, when we hear the word intersecurity agencies advising, these are people who are mandated to handle security. Believe you me, during elections, people are excited. People are agitated. Some footage coming in shows a lot of things that was captured during this time. Some are false, or majority are even false, but had they been out at such particular time, they would have caused chaos. So I believe, I always tell my colleagues here, that sometimes peace is better than being right. I always tell them I choose peace over being right. Now, at this particular time, we've seen incidences even before they switched off the internet, where someone has misused the internet. I know many Ugandans who have slept in cells over abuse of internet, either attacking individuals or many misusing it to attack the person of the presidency. You have those that have entered cells for that. So if it was being misused at the other times before elections, what gross abuse of the internet would have resulted when we are at a time of elections? And believe you me, there were some incidents that are not very friendly that did happen. Because truth be told, there are families who did lose loved ones. Investigations have not been carried on to ascertain were these people on the wrong, or was it someone manipulating security agencies? There's an incident of a friend of mine, though he won elections, but he lost a son. And when you hear if some of these things would come out and be bashed at people, the true and false, what would have happened? So for me, I give credit because we've been able to avoid misleading information at such a time. I saw a picture of, was it a plane over one of the candidates, a helicopter over one of the candidates' home, showing this has landed there, it has picked, it has taken. The Interreligious Council went there. I know police even had to hold a press conference to cool the situation very fast. Now, the wife of that particular candidate yesterday told the Interreligious Council that my husband escaped after police surrounding and trying to go over. But there's a picture, you get it, and such information. So, if we were able to stop that from happening, yes, people's livelihoods were affected. But if anything compromises national security, because you all believe us coming to work here is because you are able to come. We know what impact false information can do. When we read about the genocide in Rwanda, one of the catalysts there was misinformation and media. For now, with social media, where everyone is a journalist.
Citizen journalism.
Where even have people who choose to give false information because they know that that false information is going to agitate, is going to disrupt, and their mission will be achieved. So, for me, the biggest achievement and the biggest positive is that government was able to counter false information by people not being able to access it. And this enabled, in one way or the other, avoid the situation that would have been. You know, I've seen people on social media in different riots. You know, someone shows and you see the youth. And some of these incidents, I believe social media not being present did so much to counter them.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Robert, for that perspective. One would also have a school of thought that, well, no one wished for the internet to be shut down, but it was also an opportunity for people to pause, to just pause, because there was nothing to do. There was no life to be done outside of people's homes. So people were at home for the most part. People were with their families for the most part, and engaging in any other activity that did not require a phone. And that means either checking on the social side of things, checking yourself if you are addicted to social media, if you are dealing with an addiction that needs
but majority of us are addicted.
Yes, but that was a moment to realize that I'm actually addicted and I need to tone down. I need to watch my social media consumption. When we get back, it was a moment to perhaps reflect and probably get to a point of making better lifestyle decisions as we go about life day by day. But away from the lifestyle side of things, some of the areas that were affected by the shutdown, we look at spaces like the healthcare systems definitely affected.
But those was Julie, I remember they said they would remain open to the internet.
Yes,
the healthcare system, that is a national referral hospitals,
yes,
and not like these private other clinics and so forth.
Yes, and of course with fiber, those that had fiber, yes. Up to now, you can only access clean internet if you have fiber.
Okay.
And if you do not have fiber, then you have to use VPN and all these things. VPN is already a threat in itself to everyone's private
It's not
data.
even as perfect as the normal thing. It's off, then you have to
Because it's backdoor, it's illegal.
It's a bypass.
Yeah, it's a bypass. But looking at immigration and electoral commission portals as well, at that time nothing could be accessed. Looking at utilities management and the convenience of having payments made via a phone, at that time it was hard. Looking at aviation and railway control systems, I mean, the URA itself did report that it has been affected by the election process. That's why it ended up, collecting less taxes. But John, on that note, let's look now at the negative impact of these past few days.
Of course, Julie, we have to be reminded that it is not the first time internet has been shut down during elections in Uganda. I remember 2016, the same thing happened, and restrictions were primarily on social media platforms. And again, that very year during the presidential swearing in, though people may not have remembered that. Then 2021, also there was an initial block of social media platforms, which was followed by a complete shutdown. And until now, Facebook is still restricted. But of course, there are so many negative impacts of the shutdown of internet from the elections, since most of Ugandans, even in the rural areas, are now aware of the internet or smartphones. You may find that someone may not be really browsing, but they're actually using mobile money, which can be at times supported by the internet or by the network, the IPS and everything. So livelihoods were affected. In the informal sector and the formal sector. Many people do receive money on a daily basis. For example, SACCOs, Chibina money, saving 1,000. Also payment of loans, servicing of loans. And already we are hearing cries that the interest rates are already shooting up because they defaulted on some of the payments they were supposed to make while there were restrictions to mobile money or the internet, because some of them make direct bank transfers to their accounts. And of course, URA, you mentioned URA, was some of the businesses were supposed to file.
Indeed, in fact, the URA does make mention here that the state lost income due to the internet shutdown, affecting revenue collections. The deadline for filing monthly taxes was, of course, fell within the threshold 15th. Of 15th. And of course, this got into lost revenue with tax clearances and of course at various border points as well. So a lot of money was lost. Mobile money alone is a place where a lot of tax is generated, and during that season, tax was a lot of revenue.
And Julie, also, you know, when it comes to business, most of the business people, because I do GMU business, I've talked to, are still tight-lipped about the possible losses they have incurred, but they cannot imagine. So most of the businesses are now incurring losses, and some have lost the businesses because if one is supposed to send an invoice online or a quotation, this was inevitable. Right. And you know, they have targets, they have things they've scheduled to do by a space of a given period. So many businesses made losses because of the internet shutdown. But on the contrary, you know, Electoral Commission, some of the biometric voter verification kits had aspects that had to run online with the internet. For example, verification of the voter, and they couldn't. That is why you found that some of these machines failed, and people could not really use them. So imagine they did, I don't know if they did not foresee that we needed internet for the electoral process.
Well, at least when we had these conversations with Paul Bukenya, the deputy spokesperson, he mentioned that these kits did not need the internet at the time, the process of voting. However, if you talk about tallying and having results sent to the National Tally Center or district centers. I do not know how the technology would have worked on there with the BVVKs, but the whole voting process from when you arrive at the polling station to cast your vote until you leave the polling station, they did not need the internet anyways.
And of course, Julie, people did not, most of the people lost contact with families. For example, those abroad, I'm getting money for my farm, my poultry. PDM gave me money. And maybe I'm supported further by someone who is not in Uganda. I couldn't access money, or even within Uganda. So livelihoods, especially the informal sector, suffered really a lot, and the micro businesses. And also, when you talk about business online, there are people who earn online by making reviews, reading books, also tour operators. When it comes to the tourism sector, it was really a sad story since they couldn't access internet to emails to speak to their would-be clients. And of course, those ones who are in transit, when they go to the airport, has arrived, as making calls, I cannot register a new SIM card in Uganda to talk to my family at home that have arrived in Uganda for whatever tourist attractions I'm going to see or to venture into. So it was really not good on the side of business. On the side of security, it was a +1. Misinformation and fake information. Should we really conclude that maybe there is a weakness of the Computer Misuse Act? Is it ineffective?
And now that you say that, it's where I want to bring Robert in indeed to talk about the Computer Misuse Act, given that first and foremost, this whole event, what is the cost of restricting internet access, but also just the mere experience? I understand you also relate the mere experience of using VPN alone. One, you know that your data is not safe. I've experienced my data being hacked because of VPN. That was in 2021, and since then I cannot use VPN. Right now we are partially open, but I can't. I would rather stay away as long as I haven't used VPN. But also, when we look at still internet access, shortly before the voting week, the story around that we saw, not just a story, but it was a reality. The satellite internet provider Starlink was banned from Uganda, and this was due to the fact that they did not have full license to operate in Uganda. This would have been perhaps the option, the alternative to, but of course it happened at the time shortly before voting week, and right 2 days to voting, a day maybe, to voting day, and the internet was shut down. But looking at information and misinformation, especially on the internet, Robert, let's look at the Computer Misuse Act in Uganda. And if it were really, really, really active, how many Ugandans right now would be behind bars?
Well, the funny thing is how the law works. Certain things unless in the interest of the state. But if there is no complainant, you may find that a person will go scot-free with their offenses if the person chooses to leave them. You know, also, court is expensive. Of recently, we've seen a number of boys, girls, women, even as we speak. I think there is some prominent TikToker, she called Louis Light or something.
Louis Light, yes.
You know? Enjoying the coolers.
She made some liberal statements on someone's business. On
someone's business. We've known one presidential advisor. I know some of them. I don't even bother to look. Their original names, they are real names, but she's called full figure.
Jennifer Nakango.
She has done so much in arresting quite a number of them, though she's surviving, because sometimes you don't see the difference between the one arresting and the people that are being arrested. But as long as there is no one to take you on, then you go scot-free. We've seen many young girls, their nudes out there, and they don't take the lane to take these people who they believe have distributed their nudes, and so that they follow that. But Uganda, we have laws, and key outstanding is the Computer Misuse Act that was 2011, amended in 2022. Now, we have those that are acts of parliament, and also those that are enforced by Uganda Communications Commission, like what it did, use CC and also NITA-U Uganda. Now, those are the most of the bodies that enforce these. And when we talk about the Computer Misuse Act, its purpose one, this also, it criminalizes offenses that include cyber harassment, distribution of malicious or unsolicited information, and also has penalties that include fines, imprisonment, though not so many have fallen prey to this. Remember, towards the elections, we had some that messed around with the president and his family, and those some were arrested, and many of these young boys, once in court, would come out and state, I was looking for likes, I wanted followers, please forgive me, I didn't intend to do this. But of course, that they are not spared by the law. So we have the law in place, and the law mandates bodies. Even if you remember the statement by the Uganda Communications Commission, it quoted the law. Honorable Nyombi Tembo quoted the law that gives the commission power to do what it did and gave reasons. So we have the law, they're not working outside the law. The law is very clear, and this time around the major threat was misinformation at such a time, which misinformation would lead or breed insecurity among the public, agitate. You know, Uganda's population, majority of it are youth. Any misinformation, I remember, I think it was it 2021 or 2016? When one Ugandan went out and brought information, when we were going for election, I think it was even on voting day, that people are aware the Kabaka of Uganda has been arrested. Now, I was in some village in Chiboga. Someone told me, no. You know that those people, they believe in their king. Like, no, this can't be. And we are going to vote early morning. These things are, I think, by morning. Now people are like, it means you get it. Because some of the Baganda, which is a tribe in Uganda, things to do with their king, they take them very passionately. It can affect one's vote at such a time. It can bring insecurity. Until, I don't know how government quickly reacted to this. And I remember clips circulating of the Kabaka moving freely and all that. This time around, we had that of helicopter on top of his house speaking him. And so such information is why they had to evoke the law to avoid that. But also not to say that there are also some incidents that could have been out of hand. You know, there's a term I usually hear when police talk about a stray bullet. That is why if I'm not on duty that I'm covering a story, when I see a crowd, I'll vanish like someone is chasing me. Because up to now, I've failed to understand what is a stray bullet. But sometimes these stray bullets kill or injure innocent people, that if some of these footages came out at such a time, they would agitate and they would cause some unrest within community. So when you bring in the law, and sometimes what is funny that the captures of these things may not give you the genesis. There is a case I was trying to trace myself in as a journalist, only to later find out and get the truth on ground that this young man, much as he was put out of action, caught a panga and was moving towards police.
Interesting.
But remember, for the footage that you will see, is this man being shot and people crying. You will not see the genesis of what happened. So all these would later yield to unrest. Because I was like, but a man of this age for sure, why? But only to get the genesis of the story, and I'm like, yes, it was wrong, but when you put yourself in harm's way, what do you expect?
Thank you very much, Robert. We are looking at the impact of the shutdown and partial restoration of the internet here in Uganda. 0709-602-592 is the WhatsApp number that you should engage and be part of the show. We've looked at the positives, the negatives, and of course, what the Computer Misuse Act as well has to say on there. But one of the results from this whole experience since this week, in fact, because last week it was a total shutdown, there was no way we could access the internet whatsoever. But from Saturday or Sunday, when it was partially restored, now there's a use of VPN. And as Ugandans, we want to understand what exactly are we dealing with? Are we just saying yes to using VPN, or there's always a repercussion to every action and choice that we make? And on that note, I want to ask Joan to just take us through what it really is that we're dealing with when we're talking about VPN and actually using it on our devices.
Basically, VPN is virtual private network.
Right.
And it protects its users by encrypting their data and masking their IP address, that is internet protocol. Computer language is IP. So when you use the VPN, most of the times, it protects your data from snoopers, hackers, most of the times, though it may not be all the time, and surveillance, especially on unsecured Wi-Fi. So most of the people, for criminals, they use VPN to run away from surveillance because someone cannot locate your geographical location because you use an IP address that is not known. Or we've seen people who use VPN, we've seen you saying, now I'm in Germany. It is now throwing me to France, and then I'm back to Italy. So those are variations in locations.
Actually, I've never seen when you're using VPN, that Ugandan flag, I've not seen it. I see Germany.
Have you set out any virtual private networks as Uganda that can work in other countries? That is also a question to ponder on. So it just secures your data and makes your information, like encrypted information, be safe, and also to bypass some of the restrictions that have been put in your country.
Right.
If maybe there is a certain application that has been banned in Uganda, when you use VPN and you install it on your phone, you can access it even when you are still in Uganda. So normally you just bypass geo restrictions to access blocked content. For example, in these elections, or social media, WhatsApp, Instagram, X, and all that. So encryption, when you connect your phone to a VPN network, the data turns it into unreadable content once it's already encrypted. And since someone cannot access that data, if it's, you see WhatsApp, if maybe it is a new contact, or after some months, it brings a notification. Your data is end-to-end encrypted. No one can access it. So some of them might use a VPN for that. And also how it works, it just tunnels your data, and it travels through a secure tunnel to a VPN server. Leave alone that MTN or Airtel is giving me the IP address, or the IPS, or the server that you are, the configuration, internet configuration settings that you receive. Here with VPN, they are not visible, and it may be really hard for someone to locate you. So others use it for privacy and security, but others just want to hide their IP address. Terrorists use VPN for such criminal acts because they want to be anonymous. And also for remote access, though, on a positive note, you can use VPN. If maybe you can't, you go to a remote area, you need to connect with work colleagues, you can install VPN and also have your company work and internet anywhere in the remote areas. But also for business connections, you can connect to many businesses countrywide. I'm sure because Mr. Honorable Nyombi Tembo came out and said, for those of you who are using VPN, there are people who have been using it for business. So it helps someone to connect to their business. So VPN has pros and cons. Though in this period, as UCC was directed to restrict internet, it was not good to use VPN during this period.
Indeed, and some of the dangers of using free VPN mobile applications for you. Of course, data harvesting is on there. Many free VPNs log user activity, exposing sensitive corporate data for organizations, but also personal data. to third parties. That's how unsafe it is, especially if it's free VPN.
Because you have to agree.
Yes.
You have to agree to the terms and conditions
for the most
before
part,
you even connect.
Yeah, for the most part, everyone is using a free VPN. Yes. Yeah. Looking at, of course, free VPN comes with weak
most
encryption.
Ugandans cannot subscribe to premium. That's how we call that.
There are malware risks in there. Some free VPN apps contain malicious code or ads that can compromise devices and networks. And of course, they come from unreliable providers, and there are also man-in-the-middle attacks, because there's always a middleman in one or the other who's having access to your data, and attacks are on there. So generally, it's not safe because many are accessing free VPN, and it's quite shaky and sensitive. But Kevin here comes through. I'm trying to download a picture, but he's saying that, hi, good morning. Yes, good morning, Uganda. Wow. There is a Ugandan flag on this VPN.
And he must be confusing it for Germany.
And I believe he knows his country's flag. So I'm trying to get the picture to see.
If it is a Germany,
yeah.
I wish it.
But when we get it, definitely, Kevin, thank you so much for being on the show and watching it. And it brings us to the end of this conversation. We've been looking at the impact of the internet shutdown here in Uganda and a restoration, partial restoration of the internet in Uganda. It's a conversation that we've been chewing on. Thank you so much for being on. Good Morning Uganda does continue, reminding you that the show is proudly brought to you by the Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, allowing us to slurp, as John is slurping on her Ugandan coffee, like it is here on set, encouraging you to also grab yourselves a beautifully packaged brand of Uganda coffee from that supermarket and enjoy a great aroma that is authentically Ugandan. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo,
you can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules, plant extract, scientific ratio, take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
My question is, what is the difference between rental tax and income tax? How comes I'm paying both taxes on my own premises? If you want to have a tin, but you are not making any income from your business, you should take on the obligation to continue filing your nil return.
Commissioner General to invest in taxation. When people understand taxes and they know the importance of taxes and they know the fair assessment of these taxes they're supposed to pay, I think everybody will embrace taxation.
As banning groupage cargo, clearance protects small traders who cannot afford to import full container loads individually and rely on consolidation to remain competitive. Cargo to come in groupage is consolidation, it's legitimate, and we can't ban it. What we have banned, or what we have stopped, is the use of container leaders. Now, Fiona, the good news I have for you is that among the new tax proposals,
Now you can get direct answers. Send your tax-related questions via WhatsApp or SMS to 0790-141-887, and the Commissioner General of URA, John Musinguzi, will personally address them. Tune in to UBC News Tonight every Monday and Wednesday for expert insights and clear explanations. Buza Commissioner.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Okay, where I'm standing, I get to see the 3 flags.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what the other 2 do identify besides the one of Uganda.
Yes.
Yes, maybe if you can tell us about the maroon flag and the blue flag.
Yeah, the one which has the royal blue stripes, that's for the Kingdom of Buganda. It represents the area where the kingdom is seated. Buganda is one of the interlacustrine kingdoms which are occupying the Great Lakes area. People are more based in agriculture and farming as the economic activities. The cream color represents transparency. Then the shield and the 2 spears, that is security and defense. The land at the bottom, he is the king. Then the maroon one, that's the royal flag. It is always raised where the king is. Yeah, so when he leaves this place actually in the evening, it is brought down. When he's coming in the morning, it is raised up again. Yeah.
Okay, and then what is with the straight line that goes all the way, right from the, does it start at the entrance of the palace itself?
Yeah.
Yes. What is the story attached to the straight line?
This is called the Royal Mile for the Kingdom of Buganda. We have the same like this if you go to Scotland, Edinburgh, there is a Royal Mile of King George V. So the kings, whenever they traveled and maybe liked something, they made sure that they bring what exactly they've seen and they brought it back home. So this side it's the palace, then across it's the parliament for the Kingdom of Buganda. So it's exactly 1 mile from the entrance of the palace to the entrance of the parliament. 1 mile is approximately 1.6 kilometers. And this royal mile is for the Kingdom of Buganda. It was in Luganda, which I call it Kabaka Njagala Road. That's what the commoners know. Kabaka Njagala means the king loves me. This was got during the reign of Kabaka Daudi Chwa. Whenever he used to ride his bike to the church, Mirembe Cathedral, for morning prayers, many Baganda men, it is alleged that they assembled themselves on the road, at least to say hi to their beloved king. When he stopped and he greeted some of them, many went back home proud that the king loves me. Kabaka Njagala. That's why even the road itself derives its name from. This road, on it you can find the sculptures of the totems in the either sides. Animals, plants, insects, birds. It has 2 roundabouts. There is one here. The king is the only one allowed to go straight in the middle of the road. Another one, it is in the middle of the road like a splitted drum. It's called Nantawetwa. That's where the king gets the name Lukoma Nantawetwa. He's the only one who goes straight in the middle. It's a sign of respect and somehow symbolic that when the king is speaking or making any decision, the king is always straightforward. kings do not beat around the bush. For us, we have an opportunity maybe to meander around, but the king doesn't do that. Yeah.
Brought to you by Uniquely Ours. Explore Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning, eat twice a day, don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hgo.com or call 0800 335555.
Amazina gange ndetubona Kiranda Amina mu company eya WIB Uganda Limited ndi member. Wemba member company eno weyeida twalinga tutuli bulungi ng'abakyala abe wakawaka. Ng'abakyala abe wakawaka tuemera ku baami baife nga bonkana abajjamu nanda nga twiddi nti abakyala tebakozesa ki nanda. UN Women weyeida yatuteekateeka yatwegesa okulunda engege ng'abakyala. Twatandika beeno okudulunda n'okudiriisa n'okolaki. Twafunamu ng'abakyala aba Bugiri district. Abakyala ba Bugiri district sofa tuli abakyala 14 abakola project eya WIB. Abakyala 14 twayawula mu sectors. Mulimu abakyala ba production, abaliisa, mwaba abakyala ba validation, abongera engege omutindo bayongerako omutindo. Twaba n'abakyala ba harvesting, aba harvestinga. Twaba n'abakyala abakola aba marketing. Sector donna diri trained era didi kyedikola ki kyedikola. Project eno tufunyemu ng'abakyala. Government yaife ne ya Uganda njebaza. Okujja kwekujanga batulingirira mu ng'abakyala abana Uganda. Eri kujanga etulobingira ebibiina bingi. We have UWEB, baleta parish development model. We have Myoga. Byonna biri kwida mu ki mu bakyala oba mu bantu abaki aba Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV and welcome back from that break. It's time for the agenda on Good Morning Uganda. And this time round, tomorrow is the 22nd day of January 2026, a day that reminds you and I that elections and voting is still taking place. Tomorrow is the elections of the district local governments, that is to be precise, district city chairpersons, Lord Mayor and other mayors and councillors at that. The 15th January, the general election, that is for presidency and members of parliament, was one that Ugandans came out to vote. But many a times Ugandans tend to forget that they also have other elections to participate in and cast votes for, such as local government elections. And it's something that we are here to look at. The role of mayors and municipal leaders in developing urban communities. 0709-602-592 is the WhatsApp number that you should engage and be part of the conversation. Now, to have it with us is Eugene Gerald Semakula, who is the country director of Alliance of Mayors Initiative for Community Action at the local level. So share your opinion, ask that question. Let's learn and relearn together through this conversation. Good morning, Semakula.
Good morning.
A pleasure having you this morning.
It's a pleasure being on UBC.
Right.
Yeah, knowing that it's covering the whole country and many people out there are really watching it.
Indeed. Let's start from a preamble, and for the sake of context, what is the mandate of Alliance of Mayors Initiative for Community Action at the local level? And what's its mandate? What is it about? What is its role?
Okay, thank you so much. AMICAL, which of course is the short name for the Alliance of Mayors Initiative for Community Action at the local level, is an association of mayors and town clerks across the whole country. And basically, we came into existence in 2000 to address a specific challenge, which was HIV/AIDS. By that time, our founding mayor was the late Sebana Kizito, and the aim was, how can mayors be at the forefront of addressing the challenge of HIV and AIDS that was so rampant in the urban areas at that time. You remember during that time, people who would come from the towns would be looked at as bayaye and so on, highly exposed. So the hotspots for HIV/AIDS were really within the urban centers. So AMICAL came in as a specialized agency to deal with specific urban challenges, and by that time it was HIV/AIDS. Over the years we've moved, and now we keep learning from that experience to now tackle the urban challenges that we face. We are into climate change issues to deal with, making sure that mayors still are at the forefront of tackling climate change, issues to deal with urban health, issues to deal with economic empowerment within the urban areas. So we tackle specific challenges that affect the urban areas. And our approach is simple. We want to put the mayor at the fore of development. Because you see, a mayor, once elected, has the citizen mandate to be able to be as a political leader, as the leader of the polity within that urban area, to give it that direction, to be the face of the aspirations of the urban communities. So we deal as an alliance. Our membership, of course, comprises mayors and town clerks of cities, as you rightly mentioned in the intro, whom we are going to elect tomorrow. We have mayors and town clerks of the municipalities, the municipal councils, whom we are going to elect, I think, on the 27th. Then we have also the mayors and also the town clerks of town councils. So we have the cities, which are at a higher level. Then we have the municipalities, which are lower local governments. Then we have also town councils, which are also lower local governments. So our mandate, as you've mentioned, is to make sure that we build the capacities of the mayors to be able to deliver on their mandate in those specific aspects that address challenges of urban development.
Very profound. And still in the same spirit, I'd like for you to just paint a picture on how indeed Amical helps mayors to, say, for example, like you've mentioned, help in capacity building, probe on advocacy, community mobilization, accountability. Just paint a picture of the reality of what exactly all these play as for the mayor, who eventually, I believe, presents it to the member of parliament, who takes it to the floor of parliament, and how it flows.
Okay. Just to give also another perspective before I come into that, Amical does not do this alone. You know, when you look at the configuration of local governments and the way the decentralization framework works, we have the ministry, we have, of course, the local governments, the lower local governments, the higher local governments, but we also have the associations. So we have three main associations. We have ULGA, which is the local government association that brings together the districts. We have UAAU, which is the Urban Association of Uganda, and then we have Amical. So for the urban authorities, we have two associations, that is UAAU and Amical. So we work together, the three associations work together. Some deal with advocacy. For example, when we are looking at advocating for the rights of political leaders, the aspirations and so on, you will see mainly UAAU and ULGA at the fore. It is about negotiations with the central government. You will see UAAU and ULGA at the fore. But now when it comes to the capacity building, addressing specific challenges, like I mentioned, HIV/AIDS, then that's where you see Amical coming in from a specialized point of view to address those challenges. So we deal with that. So as Amical, how do we approach this? We have what we call the mayor-led approach to local development. Why? We put the mayor at the fore. In that we know once a mayor is able to appreciate the roles he or she plays, then that mayor can be able to spur development. So what do? We engage with these mayors. We engage with them, give them the tools that they need, but most importantly, the technical support to be able to address these issues. For example, we are currently running a project in two actually cities. One is a city, another one is a municipality. When you look at Masaka and you look at also Nansana, that is trying to make sure that the youth are engaged in addressing the climate challenges. So what do we do as Amical? We provide that support to these cities, especially the leadership, to ensure that they can be able to deliver on that. But our mayor-led approach mainly looks at, one, this mayor, can he or she be able to mobilize the communities? But also as an individual, because you know these positions of leadership which people go into, there are two aspects to them. One, the individual as a personality, but then the office which you occupy. As an individual, you have what we call a legacy project. you as a mayor, what are you going to be known for these 5 years? We are going, of course, to go into elections, but the question is, what are you going to be known for the next 5 years, that when such and such a mayor was there, this is what happened? And now that I know people from Mukono are watching, we had a mayor called Mayor Kajimu. When you go to Mukono, the legacy Mayor Kajimu left, years after he left, Mayor Kajimu opened up roads in Mukono. So anywhere you go and you ask anyone about the legacy of Kajimu in Mukono, they will tell you that gentleman made sure that he opened up access. And the Mukono, the kind of growth you see in Mukono, the access is because of, now that was his individual, passion. Make sure that the place is well planned and address that. When you go to Nansana, security issues. You remember at times when they used to call Nansana Kuma store, and everyone would think that that is the, the center of crime and so on. But the current mayor, Mayor Bachite, focused on community policing and making sure that, there are those issues of security are addressed. So each mayor, when you go to the north and you go to Koboko municipality, for example, Mayor Sanya, there is a legacy in as far as making sure that he does fundraising and brings projects to the community, addressing the issue of, refugees and so on and so forth. So as a mayor, you need to have what we call that personal initiative, what we can call a legacy project. So we encourage mayors that, look, you have this 5-year term. As you are beginning, what is it that you are passionate about, that you are going to be able to lead on? That is at the personal level. At the national level, every year as Amica, we run what we call a national campaign. A national campaign on road safety, a national campaign on HIV/AIDS, a national campaign on public health, a national campaign. So many, actually, when you go to our website, you can see all these campaigns that we've been running over the years. But those national campaigns which we run are aimed at making sure that mayors now operate, as a unit, as a unit beyond the individual projects which you are running. At the national level, you have now what you are focusing on that year. So basically, that's what Amical is looking at. Build the capacity of these mayors to be able to address the unique challenges, the locality-specific challenges within their municipalities, within their cities, but then also be able to have a national campaign where we address issues that are affecting the whole country at large.
Well, thank you very much. We are looking at the role of mayors and municipal leaders in developing urban communities. And to have this conversation with us is Eugene Gerald Semakula. He is the country director of Alliance of Mayors Initiative for Community Action at the local level. And he has just given us a preamble of what Amical does, but generally into perspective, what exactly Amical does in support, as it supports mayors all over the country to deliver on their business. Now, 0709-602-592 is the WhatsApp number that you should join and be part of the conversation. Learn and learn, relearn, ask that question, share your opinion, so that indeed you benefit from this conversation as you purpose to go and vote for your mayor and local council leader tomorrow, the 22nd of January 2026. Now, Semakula, let's look at the role of mayors and municipal leaders. How do you see the role evolving, or how have you seen the role evolving over the years of mayors and municipal leaders?
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, we have the Constitution, we have the Local Government Act that spells out what the roles are. But when we are talking about mayors, we must have that distinction between the three types of mayors that we have. We have the mayors that run cities. A city is at the same level as a district. So when you are talking about a mayor who is at a city level, now we have 11 cities. So when you look at the mayor at that level, look at that mayor from the perspective of an LC5, a district chairperson. The roles and functions are the same. However, when you look at the urban areas, when you look at a city, it is slightly different from a district, because the challenges you are dealing with, the dynamics of handling a city, the dynamics of handling an urban population are quite different from when you are running a district. Now, so that is the first category. Now, we go to the second category, which is the mayors who run the municipal councils. Now, in cities, we have divisions. So divisions are also equivalent to the municipal councils. Now, these are running what we call a lower local government. It's not the same as a city, because a city is a higher local government. A municipality operates under the framework of a district, but a city is independent. It is run as one entity, but a municipality runs under a district local government. Now, the third category are the what we call the towns, the town councils. We also have mayors. We call them mayors, but of course legally they are referred to as chairpersons of town councils. But we've taken it as mayors because they play that role of also as urban, given that it is urban, they are also into the aspects of dealing with the urban challenges. Now, what is their role? Depending on the level which we are looking at, there are three main functions which they operate. One, given that these are political leaders, mayors provide the overall political leadership within the area of jurisdiction. They have councils which take executive decisions, they have councils which plan, they have councils which deal with the budget, they have councils that actually deal with the urban challenges. So the decisions which we make, which are made at that level, affect you as a resident within that jurisdiction that is urban. But beyond that, we have, beyond providing that political leadership, we have a key element of monitoring service delivery. As a political leader, one of the areas that is key is ensuring that service delivery is monitored. But as I mentioned, when you are in the urban areas, there are so many challenges compared to the district, when you are in the district configuration. Why? The uptake of services, government services in an urban area is a bit different. When, for example, you are here and I will talk about KCCA, it's a bit different. It's not under the same configuration as the other cities because it is an authority, it's under President's office and so on and so forth. It has those dynamics, but of course there are areas where KCCA also operates under the Local Government Act, especially when it comes to issues to deal with service delivery and so on. But I was mentioning that when you are dealing with the urban population, the primary schools in the urban areas, they are competing with the private. You find the people you want to be able to access these services are you know, you have challenges actually even convincing people in the urban areas to utilize these services. When you look at the health services within the urban areas, when you contrast them with the district services, they are also a bit unique. So the uniqueness of the urban population requires a certain level of sophistication. And when I talk about sophistication, I'm not talking about being highly learned. It's about a leader who can be able to appreciate the context in which he or she is working. So if you were mayor and you are coming in, I know some people who have been in the leadership in the district local government and now are aspiring to become mayors, the ball game is a bit different. When you are dealing with the urban population, it is a bit different. The level of knowledge of the people in the urban areas, the level of stubbornness of the people in the urban area, the level of expectation, the level of exposure. People are going to be talking about digital issues. You are not bringing the issues of planting seeds and so on. So you need to have, as a political leader, when you are dealing with the urban population, especially service delivery, you need to have that unique view. So that is the second role of being able to monitor service delivery in its unique and challenging manner in the urban areas. Thirdly, contact with the electorate. As a mayor, as a councillor at the municipal level, you must be in touch with the needs and aspirations of the urban population. And as I mentioned, the urban population is a bit unique. Their challenges and needs are so different. You are dealing with people who do not have, for example, if you take our congested areas, the slums and so on, you stay in an area, you do not even know who your neighbor is, but you've stayed in that area for over 7 years, you don't know your neighbor. That is the nature. So even when you are dealing with community mobilization for the urban community, it's unique. It's not like in the local, in our villages where you know each and every one within the community. So if you do not have that anchoring in grasping the urban challenges, then it becomes a challenge for you as a leader. So the roles are clear. Come to council, make sure that you come up with legislation, you plan, you budget, you implement services for the population, you monitor the services, and then you make sure you are in contact. Those are the three roles. But still, to go back to the services, and I want to mention, for example, the unique government programs like the parish development model. In the urban areas, we cannot sugarcoat it. PDM has been finding a challenge in urban areas. Why? The configuration still goes back to the configuration of the urban communities which we are dealing with, and also the way the design of the project, the design of the program had mainly an inclination to the rural population in terms of being able to produce and so on and so forth. But in the urban areas, and uniquely where political leaders, mayors have been the champions of PDM, it has succeeded. So what I'm trying to mention is that for government programs to succeed, a mayor as a political leader, together with the councillors, they have to take to take that mantle. So those three roles are cardinal. As a political leader, take the political decisions, make the plan. As someone who is dealing with monitoring, monitor and make sure the urban population actually utilizes the government programs, but also being in touch. So those are the three main roles they play.
Wow. I love how detailed you indeed educate us on these matters, because many times we throw the words around mayor, Lord Mayor, and LC5 chairperson, and we just never take in the depth of what their role is. And if you ask me, from what we are learning this morning, it's the fact that we might as well make a lot of noise at the top about the leaders in parliament if we are well informed and making noise about our leaders at the local level. But if we don't even know who our leaders are at the local level, then there's no point in us making noise about the leaders who are at the top in parliament, or even the seat and constituency of the presidency. Now, be part of the conversation, 0709-602592. But allow me ask you, Semakula, in light with the 2026 general elections, which are taking place tomorrow for this particular group of leaders, how important is citizen engagement? I know it's something that we are obviously elaborating right now, but from your experience, from your expertise, I'd like for you to paint the picture of how deeply important it is for citizen engagement to be part of this democracy and accountability.
Okay, thank you. You see, I can make 2 or 3 points, and then I can elaborate on each. One, we get the leaders that we deserve as citizens. The leaders we elect are a reflection of our community. So, secondly, as citizens, the avenue we have to get the kind of leaders we want is through participating in the electoral process. Because, and this is specifically in the urban areas, why I'm putting a lot of emphasis, people in the urban areas tend to be too busy to participate in things that actually matter. But they will find time to discuss Arsenal, to discuss Man U, but when it comes to matters that actually have a direct link to their livelihood and how they are living within that area, then they don't have that time. So that is the second point. Thirdly, before you make that decision, educate yourself on what you are putting this leader in office to do. So those are the three. The quality is, of course, from us, but that quality of the leader is going to determine for the next 5 years how your city, how your municipality is going to look. If you get someone who is outlooking, someone who is really forward-looking, someone who is strategic, and let me emphasize the strategic nature. You see, we have 2 types of leaders. We have operational leaders who are good at operations. Give him a plan, give her a plan, she will make sure that everything is done. Then we have strategic. But the kind of leaders, when we are looking for a politician, especially someone to run the city or an urban area, we need someone to operate at a strategic level. Why? Because operational level, we have the technocrats who are going to be able to implement. But we want someone to say, my municipality, in the next 5 years, I want us to be able to deal with this, with this, with this. We are in a digital age. Many youth, you saw when the internet was off during this time, how the youth came out crying and talking about the businesses they are running. So for you as a mayor, if you are not even abreast with the technology that is running. You have a high young population within the urban areas. And you cannot be able to look strategical and ask yourself, how am I leading and facilitating the growth of these young people to meet the urban challenges? Then you are not the kind of leader that that community deserves. We are beyond the operational. We need someone who is strategic. Strategic in the sense that you are going to say, okay, this is a town council. In 10 years' time, this town council should have grown to a municipality. But to grow to a municipality, it needs land, it needs, planning, it needs to, so that you plan, as we are planning, you are in this position, but as a mayor, you are not planning for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but you are planning for 30 years from now. How, when this town council becomes a municipality, becomes a city, how will it look like? So that you have that forward looking, and then it becomes clear that you can guide the development. Go to many of our municipalities, go to many of our town councils. The development is ad hoc. Why? It takes leadership. So as we are looking at the leadership we want to vote into offices, how strategic are the leaders we are trying to look at? Is when you listen to someone, okay, beyond, I know we are so much into the politics of the parties and so on and so forth, but I can assure you, this is my personal opinion, and also not just an opinion, but informed by research and experience. Multi-partyism at a local government level doesn't make sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It makes sense at the national level.
So it's
but at the local government level, it's about purely service delivery.
Right.
So whether you are
individual
FDC,
ability.
Exactly, individual. I was trying to avoid that bit of the individual merit where we were when we were still in the good old days of the movement system.
Yes.
Yeah. But this time when we are talking about multi-partyism, yes, parties have their own, they have their own support base, and it comes that in this area it is FDC, in this area it is NRM, in this area it is FDC, it is NUP. But I'm appealing to the voter, look for the ability. Look for that individual who is going to deliver. Because when we are talking about urban development, it goes beyond the parties. And after all, in the local government level, I'm assuring you, when it comes to go to their councils, the party positions do not actually feature. What features mainly is service delivery. So let's look for leaders who have the capacity to be able to take us to that promised land, to take us to, to be able to address the challenges, the urban challenges, the unique urban challenges that we face. So that is the second. But also as citizens, once we elect these leaders, let's support them. Because people are active here, but of course also the percentage of the people who are active is very limited. We are very good at complaining as citizens. We complain. That is our daily bread. That one is, we put them, they cannot do anything.
And we complain from ignorance.
We complain, but we don't support.
What does that look like? How should we support?
Okay. The kind of support I'm looking at is, and I usually give this example. I don't know if you visited a public health facility, like maybe a health center. Should you visit it and you want to answer the nature of the call of nature, you will find that the dirtiest place you can go to are those public facilities.
At a health center.
At a health center.
The irony.
It's ironic. And I always ask, so is it the nurses who utilize them, or it is us, the citizens, who have come? So you have a government, it has put in place facilities, but we cannot utilize them. The government has put in place PDM. We don't want to participate in it. And then when the president is moving around, we are choosing people that for us, we are not involved. So who is going to involve you if you as a citizen, you are not taking that initiative? And in the urban areas, especially in the urban areas, we are so aloof to government programs. We do not value the kind of investment the government is putting in these services. Rubbish, let's look at garbage, which is one of the things that really affects us as urban dwellers. Who disposes of the rubbish in a in a manner that is not responsible at all? It's us as citizens. So now you have put your leader in place, the one you like. They have come up with skips, garbage skips. They are trying to make sure that their initiatives they are putting in place. But you as a citizen, you are the same person who is destroying these services. Go to Masaka. The other time I had the mayor complaining about people who were breaking the trees. There is an initiative initiated by the mayor to plant trees and green the city, okay? People are breaking the trees, the branches, Then you ask yourself, so what exactly do you want the leaders to do? You've put them in place, you've voted them, they've come up with initiatives, but as citizens, we are not being responsible. So in as far as I'm talking about getting the right people in office, as citizens, we also need to do an introspection and ask ourselves, as a citizen, what is my responsibility? How can I be mobilized to support service delivery? So it's key that as citizens, in as far as we are going to go out in large numbers and vote, I know once the presidential election is done, people think that is the end of it all. But the most important, because at the national level, they are responsible for policy. The actual implementation, the actual way that policy is going to translate into service delivery is through these leaders. At LC5, that is at the district, but also the municipalities and the town councils. So as a citizen, go out and vote the kind of leaders you want to be in these positions, but once they are there, listen to them and support the services and the programs that they bring.
Right. We are looking at the role of mayors and municipal leaders at the local council level, obviously, in developing urban communities. Having this conversation with us very elaboratively and taking us to school is Eugene Gerald Semakula, who is the country director of Alliance of Mayors Initiative for Community Action at the local level. 0709-602-592 is the WhatsApp number that you should engage. Be part of the conversation. Ask that question. Share your opinion. Semakula, let's look at, excuse me, the youth participation. Uganda is largely youth. And you find that those who are most interested in activities such as voting and going to polling stations, it's the senior citizens more than the youth. But how does Amical strategically make sure that youth are heavily into this and are participating, especially for tomorrow's election?
Okay. When it comes to the youth are both a resource, if well utilized, but also a source of disorganization if misused. I'm choosing my words a bit carefully because I don't want to appear as if I'm insensitive or I'm inciting anything. But when you harness the youth and you can be able to listen to them, those guys have ideas that they already living in a they are living in a different time zone compared to most of us. Most of us are still, you know, we are not agile, we are not quick to, you know, to adapt to technology, to adapt to new things, the new way of thinking. When you look at the young people who are making money right now, in the things which you and I cannot even think about, and that's how they are making money, because they are agile. So the question is, how do we make, and before I go to that, you see, given their nature, they move with what moves. All in Uganda was bagenda na kitambula, what moves. But the question is, if you have that kind of population, which makes the majority, how do you incentivize it to think not in a group thinking whereby, oh, for us we are NRM, we are going, for us we are NUP, we are going, you know, that kind of manner. But the aspects I was talking about, so that the youth also sit down and ask themselves, this kind of leader I'm looking at, is that leader going to listen to my aspirations? There are a number of NGOs that have come up with youth compacts and so on and so forth, ideas, what you should be coming up with manifestos. If you are going to support, if you are going to get the youth vote, you must do A, B, and C, and D. But the issue is, there must be a value proposition. Our politics must speak to the value proposition. The politics should be in a manner that a youth sees him or herself as having a voice, not just as a means through which you are making other people achieve their goals. So, let me use this opportunity to appeal to the youth who are watching that it's important to vote. It's important to vote, but the level we are dealing with, we are not dealing with movements, we are not dealing with, you know, what is in vogue. We are not dealing with, we are dealing with matters of life. We are dealing with matters of the future. So, as you go out to vote, kindly look for a candidate that has those qualities that are going to lead you forward. And this thinking of my vote doesn't count, my vote doesn't matter, it matters. Because the net effect of so many people like you having that mindset, it means people are not going to vote. And once your voice is not heard, then you cannot blame. That's the first statement I made, that we get leaders we deserve. How do we deserve them? By the actions we take. If you go out and you vote, then you will get the leader that you deserve. if you don't go out and vote, you will get still the leader you deserve. Because by your inaction has made you get the leader whom you did not want to have. So, as youth, get involved. But also, to the mayors, once you come into office, kindly engage the youth. I know, because we've worked with these municipalities in the project I mentioned, they have youth desks. When you go to Nansana, there is a youth desk. When you go to Masaka, there is a youth desk. Okay? Be very specific, be very deliberate in making sure that you engage the youth. But also, there is another engagement, another study which I engaged with and a different organization that was looking at youth and women participation. And one of the voices that came out was this, that many times you tell us to participate in programs, you tell us to participate in processes, but you have put us in certain boxes that any NGO that is coming up, they look at giving us, what they call skilling. They look at teaching us how to sew. To sew. The knitting and sewing. So they give you that sewing kits, sewing machine, the kits and so on. You think we want mechanics, so you take us to the garage where we can go. And for those in the rural area, you give us, hose and so on and so forth. But listen to the youth. Listen to the aspirations of the youth. As a leader, when you come into this office, don't predetermine that a youth needs this. Listen to what they want. I can assure you, right now, one of the things that is in demand is access to the internet. The digitization. Most of the youth are on the digital platforms. That's where they are making money. So you as a mayor, if you want to involve the youth, what plans do you have for the digitization? How easy are you making it that for them to access services online? So that is the kind of thinking we are talking about. As a political leader, when you come into office, the question is, if I want to attract the youth, these public parks which we have, unfortunately in many municipalities they are gone. But the public parks, how do you make them youth friendly? How do you plan to have a public park that has internet? Wi-Fi. Whereby the youth can be able to access. That is the kind of thinking, that is the new time, how do I call it? It's the new forward-looking thinking that we are looking for in the leadership. So if you want the youth to be engaged, it goes back to what I mentioned, what is your value proposition? Don't just use them. As I mentioned, they can be an asset, but also they can be a force of destruction, depending on how you utilize them. But as the youth, you have a lot of energy when you are youthful. And you are easily swayed. You feel that, if I look back at our campus days, when we were still at university, and it is very funny, when you are at the university, when you are a student, you have not entered the real world, you feel you are at the top of the world. Yeah? Anything, because you have all the possibilities, you have everything. But when you leave that campus and you enter the world, reality hits. So, how do we ensure that we don't sell to the youth byoya byanswa or empty promises? That is the kind of leadership we are looking for. Engage the youth in a meaningful manner, meaningful participation. Don't just put them in a box. knowing that this is what the youth need, but make sure that they can meaningfully participate and love their local government. Thank you very much. Someone comes through and says, please, let me see if I'm getting it right. The leaders, good morning, the leaders are good to go, but the only problem is the civil servants who are given tasks to do but cannot work as expected. I think this